Everybody, this is the PSAT. I cut it up and put it together so that I could put it on a single sheet. So this is the one I gave you when I had a sub on 4/9/2024. That was on a Tuesday. Anyway, I did not preview this, so I'm going to go through the problems as quickly as possible. Hopefully, I'll give you some good hit tips. The first thing, notice that we have a table of values, and these have to all be true for the equation that works. So my suggestion is that you pick one of these numbers. This one looks pretty easy. X is 1 when y is equal to 3. And you could try various one of these equations. For example, if I put 1 in for x for this one, and y equal to 3 for the d, I would get 3 is equal to 3 times 1 minus 2, which of course is not true. 3 is not equal to 3 minus 2. So this is out. There's a faster one that you could choose, and you should recognize that the easiest number to use for x is 0. And this tells you that when x is 0, y is equal to 2, and you can answer the question in about 1 second if you understand what a y-intercept is. Anyway, I'm not going to write down the answers. I'm just going to give you hints on all of the problems. So number 2, or at least I'm going to try not to. All right. It says, which one of these is equivalent? Well, we're adding like terms, and you can't add x cubed with x squareds, and you have to keep them separate. But we have an x, and we have a minus x, and when you add those together, you get 0. So the only thing left is pretty clear. Hopefully that one makes sense. I'm kind of out of order, sorry. Here's number 2. So number 2, it says, in the figure, line J is parallel to line K. Oh, these are the parallel lines, right here and right here. This is how you mark parallel on lines. And L is parallel to M. So these are also parallel. I recommend putting in more arrows. Anyway, there they are. These are parallel and these are parallel. What is the value of x? So we want to find this missing angle right here, which just happens to be the same as this angle right there, because we can see that this is a line that is K is the same as this one. These two are equal because they are corresponding angles. And then these two are also corresponding. So this one is equal to this one. You can see that the whole thing right here, this whole thing is 180. But there's an easier way to see it. This is 40. This angle right here is 40. And this angle is a vertical angle with that. There's lots of possibilities for solving this. Again, it's a very quick problem. You could guess just by looking at it, but I recommend that you actually understand it, that this angle is the same as this one by corresponding angles. This one is the same as this one by corresponding angles. And of course, these two are vertical angles. Anyway, moving on to number 3. Here's number 4. It says, the function f is defined by x squared minus 5x plus 6. What is the value of f of 4? Notice that I replaced the x with a 4. That tells you what to do to get a function value. It tells you that you're replacing the x with a 4. So we put a 4 everywhere we see an x. Notice that I put it inside parentheses. Now it's just an order of operation problem. You have to square the 4 times 4. You have to subtract the 20, and then you have to add the 6, and you will get a value. This is also the y value because f of x and y mean the same thing. There we go. Number 5. Bill is planning to drive 1,000 miles to visit his family and plans to drive 250 miles per day. Which of the following represents the remaining distance in miles that Bill will have to drive to reach his family after driving n days? Well, he's going to drive he needs to drive 1,000 miles total, and the distance he still has to go, which is the remaining distance. You have to subtract the 250 that he's driving every day times the number of days. So I explained it in words. You should be able to recognize it. If you're not sure, notice that after 2 days, he has driven 250 miles each day. That means he's driven 500 miles and he's halfway there. You could put the 2 into all of these and see if any of them work and which one gives you the correct answer. Lots of ways to go. Number 6. Edicelli can spend a total of $20 in streamers and balloons for a party. Streamers cost $1.49 per pack and balloons cost $4.39. Which of the following inequalities represents the situation? She has a total of $20. So we can see that the $20 is over here, and this is an inequality. Remember that she needs to spend less than or equal to the $20. So I'll go ahead and cross out the ones that can't possibly be the correct answer. You do not want to spend more than $20. So clearly these 2 are out, and hopefully you can find the rest. Let's take a look at number 7. Sorry, I'm a little slow today. Dang it. Come on. There we go. Starting all the way over. Okay. There we are. Okay. This is number 7. I know it got a little cut off, but obviously this is 7. Which of the following is an equation of the line in the xy plane that contains the points 1, 3 and 5, 15? Well, it has to be true for both. And all you have to do is put in the x and the y. Well, let's see if this one is true right here. Y is equal to 1/3 times x. Well, let's see. Is y 3 equal to 1/3 of 1? And clearly this is not true. You could also put in the other point. It doesn't matter which points you put in. You should be able to substitute these x's and y's into the equations and see which one is true for both. It has to be true for both. All right, number 8. Oh, I really like this one. This is called a trapezoid, and the easy way to understand it and to find your area is to divide it into 2 figures. We've got a square over here, and we have a triangle over here. You need to find this missing piece right here. This is going to be the base of the triangle. And then you also need to find the height of the triangle, but it should be clear what the height of the triangle is. And remember, the area of a triangle is 1/2 times base times height. So there's the base, that's the base right here, and it's the rest of this line right here, line segment, excuse me. And there's the height right there, and you put it in and you can find the area of that triangle. Notice that it's half of this rectangle, which would be this times this. Of course, this one is a square and it's 4 by 4. It's 4 squared is its area, and then you add them together. Anyway, there we are. Number 9. Oh, okay. I really like this one. A lot of people get confused because they've got this darn 2 in the bottom right there. Whenever you have fractions in an equation, you can always multiply all the terms by the denominator. So what I could do is I could, if I wanted to, multiply by 2, multiply by 2, and multiply by 2. What you need to be careful of is that this is one term altogether. The 2 cancels with the 2 to give me 4x plus b is equal to 4x, this is 4x, plus 16. And from there, you should be able to solve this by getting rid of the x's. But it says, if the equation has infinitely many solutions, that means that it is what's called an identity. And this has to be identical to this for it to be true for any x. If I put in a 1 or a 2 or a 3, it has to be always true. So we have to figure out what will make this always true. Hopefully that's clear, and you'll get your answer. Number 10. What is the y-intercept of the graph of y equals 4 to the x power in the xy plane? Well, you have to know about exponents. And what they want is the y-intercept. The y-intercept occurs when x is 0. So what they want you to do is put the 0 in for the x and tell them what y is equal to. If you're not sure, look it up and find out what happens when you take a number to the power of 0 and figure out why. Why is that true? Anyway, hopefully that's clear, and that's going to give you the y-intercept. By the way, the y-intercept of all exponentials like this is always the same thing, because anything to the 0 power always gives you the same answer. All right, number 11. What is the sum of the solutions to the given equation? Now, they tell you that there are more than one solution, and there probably is 2. So I'm going to subtract 2x. In general, what you want to do is whenever you have quadratics, you want to get them equal to 0. And so I'm also going to subtract the 1. So I end up with x squared. Negative 14x minus 2x is minus 16x. 40 minus 1 is 39. And this is equal to 0. This is the equation we want. And the trick here is that you want to be able to factor this into its 2 parts. This is by far and away the easiest way to solve an equation like this. If you know how to factor, we've got an x times an x. I'll give you a big hint. We know because this is positive that it's going to be a negative times a negative to get a positive 39. And when I add my inside terms, I get a minus 16. And that's going to give you a big hint as to what these numbers are. Now, the solutions are not the same as the factors. The solutions will make this 0 or make this 0. And so you're going to get 2 positive numbers that will make this true. And you are supposed to find the sum of those 2 numbers. Anyway, I gave you a huge hint that the solutions are going to be positive because we know that this is going to be a minus and a minus. If you don't know why that's true, you definitely need to work on your quadratics and multiplying polynomials. These are called binomials. All right, number 12. Which of the following expressions is equivalent to the expression, to the given expression, where x is not equal to negative 2? Well, we know that this says x plus 2 in the top, and in the bottom it says we're taking x plus 2 times x plus 2. Now, they specifically tell us that x cannot be negative 2 because you're not allowed to divide by 0. If x were equal to negative 2, it would mess this thing up. So you can do some canceling, you can divide however you want to think of it. Worse yet, you could actually put a number in like 0 for x and see which one of these gives you the same number, which would be a silly way to do it, but you could do it that way too. Anyway, hopefully this is clear. You have to divide something out, and it works out because of this little caveat. All right, number 13. The half-life of a certain substance. Okay, the half-life means we're going to take half of it a number of times. So you take half of it, and then you take half of that, and you have a quarter. You take half of that, and you get an eighth, and so on. There will always be a certain amount left until you get to what's called the limit. It takes a long, long time for a lot of half-life. Clearly, 150 years is a long time to lose half of something. The 150 years is how many years it takes for it to cut it in half. Think about if you put 150 years, how do you get 1/2 of the substance? The substance includes 200 grams of the substance. I assume it's radioactive since it has a half-life of 150 years. So we want to find out how many years does it, or what's the equation in T, where T is the years, where if you put 150 in, you get half as much out. And if you put 300 in, you get a fourth as much out, and so on. Every 150 years, you cut that value in half. So at 0 years, you start out with 200. At 150 years, you have 100 grams left. It's half as much. At 300 years, you have 50 grams left, and so on. Here's some values you can put in. Of course, you have to understand how exponentials work and how half-life works. All right, last one. Number 14. We have an equation. It says the speed of an object approaches the speed of light. Okay, here it is. C is the speed of light, and a v is the velocity of the object, I assume. And when the object is stationary, okay, let's see, approaches the speed of light, the length as seen by the observer changes. Okay, it has to do with the fact that, kind of like the Doppler effect, when a train or a bus goes past you, you notice that the frequency changes. That's why when the car comes by, it starts out really high pitched as it's coming towards you, and then and it changes its velocity. Well, this one changes the length, and it has to do with the theory that as an object approaches the speed of light, it looks infinitely long, or it can look longer and longer. All right, which of the following gives the speed of light in terms of the other quantities? And this time, we want to get C by itself, because C is the speed of light. We're solving for C. Now, in order to solve for C, your first step is to divide out that S on both sides. So I'm going to divide both sides by S. I'm going to get you started on this. The equations always work the same way. You do the opposite in reverse order to both sides. So we divide by S on both sides, and we get L over S is equal to, I'm just dividing by S. That's all I'm doing. And it cancels out that S. And it gives me the square root of 1 minus V squared over C squared. This is a long square root. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides. So in order to get this square root, I need to get rid of the square root. I have to square both sides. This is going to be L squared over S squared. And there's more to it than that. It's really tricky. So you have L squared. This one actually needs to be on a separate paper, but I'm just going to write it on here. Over S squared is equal to 1 minus x squared over c squared. Okay, that's the beginning. Now you still need to get c by itself, which means you have to subtract 1. You have to change the signs because of the negative. You could multiply by c squared on both sides. You got so many things to do. Not sure which one. Wait, how come it says v? Oh, sorry. We're solving for V. We're not solving for C. Well, V is actually easier to solve for. I needed to read more carefully. We want to solve for V. So we want to get V by itself, clearly. One of these has to be correct, and I can give you the following hint. Because I'm here, this is a V. I don't know why I put an X there. Notice that V is squared, so I know that my answer is going to include a square root. Hopefully, this is so far and away the hardest problem that I hope you can get it. Really tricky, no easy way to do it except by maybe pick some weird numbers and see which one works. But that's going to be really tough too. Anyway, this one, hopefully you can finish this equation right here. We want to get V by itself. You're going to have to subtract 1. You're going to have to change all the signs. You're going to have to multiply by C squared, and then you're going to have to take the square root. So there you have it. Hopefully you got some, and I didn't go, oh crud, I don't even see my time anymore. Well, hopefully you got them. I will see you back sometime. Bye.